I'm Cabin Elizabeth, a wedding photographer and bridal boutique owner based in San Diego. And today I'm in a little bit of a new setup. I rearranged my office, so my desk used to be here. You guys probably recognize these prints above me. So I'm trying out a couple different things. We'll see how it goes. I might keep switching up settings over the next couple months. But anyways, I am excited to talk about a couple of interesting topics this upcoming season of December. There's not a lot of weddings going on right now for the most part due to COVID, which is probably a good thing. Today's topic is actually going to be all about, are you scared to walk down the aisle for your ceremony? I know a lot of people have a lot of anxiety about being the center of attention, walking down the aisle, having people look at them. Whatever your reason is for being scared or anxious to walk down the aisle, I'm going to talk all about that today. So a lot of people have social anxiety, or they just don't like to be the center of attention, or the whole pomp and circumstance of the wedding ceremony is just not appealing to them. So if you are really just so opposed to walking down the aisle, you don't want it to be this big thing, you don't like attention on yourself, you can actually skip your ceremony. And what I mean by that is that you can opt to have a private ceremony on the day of your wedding, and your invitations simply tell guests to arrive for the reception time or like a cocktail hour time. And so all of your guests aren't going to attend this ceremony. It might be just the couple, the officiant, and the photographer. Maybe it's those people plus your parents, your siblings, your best friends. So this is not that uncommon for people to have a private ceremony on the day of the wedding, and then the guests and most of the people, they're just coming for the party and all the fun stuff. Most likely they're not going to care about missing the ceremony. I think most guests, unless they're your immediate family or the ceremony is really important to them, like witnessing the two of you do that, they're just interested in having fun, seeing people mingling. I don't think they're gonna miss the ceremony. Basically, in essence, when you're planning your wedding, don't plan it for other people's feelings or your assumptions of other people's feelings. Plan it for yourself. You do you, and you're gonna be really happy that you made a decision that makes you and your spouse feel the most comfortable. Another option you have is to do what my husband and I did. We actually went to the courthouse before our wedding, not on the wedding day at all. We got married in a little ceremony there, and then on our actual wedding day, there was no ceremony whatsoever. People did not miss it. And everybody was actually like, oh my gosh, that's so fun. We just get to come straight to the party. I'm like, yes, exactly. My husband and I we didn't want to have a ceremony. It wasn't this really super sentimental thing for us. We've been together for a long time. It wasn't important to us. So we just decided to cut it out of the wedding day and make the marriage part like a very legal courthouse practical thing, and it wasn't like emotional or sentimental, and it was great. That worked really well for us. I do not regret my decision whatsoever. And we talked to our parents and we said, are you going to miss it if we don't have a ceremony on the wedding day? And they all said, no, do whatever you want, it's totally fine. We said, great. If they had been really upset about it and said, I really want you to have this ceremony, we probably would have done a really quick one, 10 minutes tops. But thankfully they didn't care at all, so we just did what we wanted to do. Now, if you are like, I gotta have the ceremony, Cabin, so just tell me what to do to make it down this aisle, I definitely have some tips for that. One thing that you can do is you can shorten your aisle. So if you have a lot of guests, maybe cut your guest count down, the less eyes on you, maybe the more comfortable you feel. But what you can do is have wider rows. So instead of each row of the ceremony on either side having 6 chairs, maybe they have 10 or 12 chairs. So if you have the space to really widen your rows, you're not gonna need as many rows, so your aisle is gonna be a lot shorter. So if your aisle is only 15 feet as opposed to 200 feet, that's really nice, and you won't be walking down quite as slowly and for that long of a time. So the less time the eyes are on you, maybe that's better for you. Another thing you can do, which people do a lot just to honor two people, is instead of just having your father or just one person, whoever that might be, walk you down the aisle, have 2 people walk you down the aisle. So a lot of times that is mom and dad, sometimes it's dad and stepdad, sometimes it's mom and brother or dad and brother. Whoever is important to you and is still living in your family, you can choose 2 people so that you feel snuggled in the middle, and it is a little less exposed to one side of you. So that might really help you feel more comfortable. And this is getting more and more common. I've had a number of weddings lately that have had 2 people walk them down the aisle. So I think that's a really cool way to make yourself feel more comfortable. Now, another thing you can do is to have a glass of champagne or a little cocktail about 30 minutes before your ceremony starts, just enough to take the edge off for you if you do drink alcohol, not too much. You don't want to be intoxicated for your ceremony. I have seen it happen, not as a wedding I've shot, but as a wedding I've attended many, many years ago. Super awkward, bride was hiccuping during the ceremony, so you don't want that. But if you just have a little bit, know your limit, take the edge off a little bit so you don't feel so anxious. Another thing that you could do would be, like, instead of where they normally have like one bridesmaid walk down, other bridesmaid walk down, you could literally have all of your bridesmaids walk down at the same time and you be on the end of them, just spaced a little far back. So instead of one person on the aisle at a time, it's literally everybody. Like, honestly, the thing is sometimes people feel so trapped with the traditional proceedings and procedures of a wedding that they forget that they can just make things up. Like, you can just make something up. If you want to like walk down the aisle holding hands with all your bridesmaids, you can do that. Like, you can literally do whatever you want. This is the beauty of weddings. You don't have to do what has been done in the past. Break it. Do what you want. If you have some cool ideas of how to make the ceremony aisle walk less anxious for you, and you're like, oh, but I'm not sure what people will think, who cares? Don't think about that. Just do what you want to do. Be confident in your decision. Do what's going to make you feel the most comfortable. Now, another tip that I do have is if you do have a dog, walk your dog down the aisle yourself. So instead of like a flower girl or a bridesmaid walking the dog at some point during the aisle walk, you're going to walk the dog yourself. Maybe you have your father or somebody else walking you with the dog, or maybe you are just walking your dog, and you can let your dog steal the show. People will be like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like, they're gonna probably focus a lot on the dog. Maybe some people will not focus on the dog and they'll be on you, but that will really help like to take some attention off of you, and it's just cute. Maybe you're super comfortable with your dog, so get a cute leash for your dog. Make sure it's not like some neon orange leash or anything that's gonna look bad in pictures. Maybe give your dog like a flower collar or a little floralized bandana thing. I don't know, you can like really go crazy with this, but make your dog steal the show so that the eyes are on your dog and not on you. If you've got 2 dogs, even better. Walk them down the aisle. When you get to the front, hand them off to somebody to keep them at bay, either like in the front row or to just have them taken away altogether. But that could be a really cool way to reduce your anxiety and have the eyes not so much on you. So my last tip is, as hard as it might be for you to walk down the aisle, remember to smile down the aisle. I tell that to so many people. It rhymes, so it's easy to remember. This is applying to bridesmaids, groomsmen, the bride and groom, the parents. Tell everybody, remember to smile down the aisle. I cannot tell you how many weddings I've shot where people walk down the aisle, they get nervous or they get distracted, and they're total straight face the whole walk down the aisle, and they look so unhappy in the pictures. So remember to smile down the aisle. Like, above all else, if you're just smiling down the aisle, people will just think you're happy. Like, just think of certain things to make you laugh or make you smile if you feel like you can't force a smile. And then when you're walking, the best thing you can do if you're afraid of all these people watching you is to pick something at the front. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your flowers, and just look at that and think about that. That can take your mind off of it instead of looking at all these people and like panicking that all eyes are on you. You're the center of attention. You feel like uncomfortable being watched. So those are just my best tips that I can come up with. Again, I encourage you guys to just make stuff up. Think of something like, oh, what if I did this? Do it. Don't care what other people think. They're probably gonna think it's really cool and interesting. I mean, people go to weddings all the time and it is the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I don't say that to diminish the importance of each wedding, but I say that from a guest experience. They're constantly seeing the same stuff. It's always the same. Weddings are very hard to be unique because they follow the same guidelines and the same structure and the same timeline and the same like procedures. So if you do something that's different, people are going to remember that and they're probably going to think, oh, that was really cool. I've never seen that before. Most of the time, people are going to think about unique things positively. And if you have one judgy person, like whatever, don't think about them. Like, ignore them. Most people are going to think whatever you've done is really cool and they're going to appreciate that it was original and unique. So I encourage you guys in the comments below to maybe leave some suggestions for other brides, things that I did not mention. I also want to see more of you guys commenting. I love responding to comments, interacting. I love hearing video ideas. I love having you guys ask me questions that I can answer for you. So I really appreciate that, because in quarantine and COVID, things can feel a little lonely. So I love when I feel like I have an audience to talk to. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to subscribe if you have not already. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!